So today we're going to be talking about zippers, and if you're not new to my channel, you'll know that this is kind of a theme here, not intentionally. But one of my biggest sewing goals over the past couple of years has been to learn how to professionally install a zipper into a garment that has a lining. In very well-made garments where this is done, you'll notice that the zipper tends to be seamlessly sandwiched between the lining and the outer fabric. Now, whether you're a beginner or even an intermediate sewer, you'll know that this technique isn't the easiest to perform. I've sought out a lot of tutorials over the years that haven't really been too helpful for me. A lot of videos will show you how to perform this technique, but they only show you how to do it using sample pieces of fabric. I'm more interested in how to construct the whole garment with a zipper. And even the videos that do use a garment tend to not show how the whole garment is constructed, or they tend to rely heavily on hand sewing for the majority of the process. I did find one video that was really helpful, and I'll link that below. Overall, I want to be able to professionally install the zipper as well as sew the whole garment using a sewing machine. So I'm making this video to show you the whole process that I used, and I really hope that it can be helpful to you if you've also been looking for a really good tutorial on this. And given the timing of my project, I figured what better garment to practice this on than a flapper dress. So that's what I'll be making today. And to make it, I'm going to be using this fabric. The teardrop scallop shapes have major Art Deco vibes, the sequins add glitz, and the 3D pleats give a unique contemporary texture. I hope you'll learn a lot from this video. Let's get started. I'm starting by cutting 1 yard of the fashion fabric as well as the lining fabric. Traditionally, flapper dresses have a pretty loose and formless silhouette. To achieve this, I plan on folding over the fabric and cutting out a simple neck hole and armholes. Once I have the fabric folded right sides together, I'm tracing out a basic scoop neckline with the seam allowance. At this point, you would also want to trace and cut out your armholes, but because this is my first time constructing a garment like this, I'm going to do that after the zipper is installed. Then I'm repeating this for the lining fabric. I started with cutting the back panel of the lining in half, then sewed the center back seam up to where I plan on having the zipper stop. I copied this measurement onto the outer fabric and then cut open the center back. There are many ways to install an invisible zipper in a garment with a lining, but in my opinion, the best way is to start by completing the back of the garment first. Now we're going to begin installing the zipper. Start by taking the zipper and turning it wrong side up. Then unzip it so that both sides are available. Take one side of the zipper and pin it to the opposite side of the center back opening. Then repeat this for the other side. If you turn one side of the zipper inward, you'll begin to see what the finished garment will look like. Now you're going to sew each side of the zipper to the center back opening. I'm using a normal zipper foot and making sure to keep the needle as close to the zipper teeth as possible. Make sure you properly secure each end of the zipper with a back stitch. Zip in up the center back and you'll see that the right side of the fabric has a seamless finish. Now we just have to attach the lining. Here you want to be sure that the wrong side of the lining fabric is facing the right side of the outer fabric. You can tell that this is the wrong side of the lining fabric because the unfinished side of the hem is facing up. Please note that in this video I'm referring to the wrong side of the fabric as the side that touches your skin, because for me the correct side is the side that can be seen through the mesh fabric. Then you'll want to pin the center back of the lining fabric to the wrong side of the zipper. When you pull the fabrics away from each other, you'll begin to see the finished zipper coming together. With the lining fabric facing upward, feel the zipper teeth through the fabric. Then align the zipper foot with the zipper teeth and sew as close as possible to the zipper teeth. Normally I wouldn't include repetitive footage of me taking out the pins, but I want to give you guys a realistic idea of what the process is like. In professional videos, they tend to use a professional or an industrial sewing machine, each of which has an easier time moving the fabric between the feed dogs and the presser foot. When you're using a home sewing machine, especially a cheap one, it can be hard to move layers of fabric through the machine without them sliding and causing an error. So you might end up using a lot of pins like I am here. We're not finished with the zipper just yet. At the bottom of the zipper, you'll see there's an opening in both the lining and the outer fabric. Because the zipper is stopping in the middle of the dress, you need the fabric to act as the stopping point. So you're going to sew both of these openings shut. Now that the zipper's finished, we need to put together the rest of the dress. With only the zipper sewn in, you'll have free access to the space between the fabric. Before you sew the rest of the back, make sure the dress is unzipped. With the wrong side of the lining facing the right side of the outer fabric, now is when you'll want to sew the neckline and the armholes. Now turn each side of the dress right side out. This is why we need access to the space between the fabric and why the dress needs to be unzipped. Once right side out, you'll notice that the fabric bunches a lot. You'll need to push out the seams from the inside and then press the seams in order to straighten out the fabric. The last step here is to top stitch the lining to the seam allowance underneath. This will keep the seam from puckering or lifting when you're wearing the garment. Now you're going to repeat all of those steps for the front of the dress. Then you're going to sew the front and back of the dress together at the side seams and the shoulder seams. I want to emphasize here that this step is entirely specific to my project. Once I had a fitting with my dress, I thought it looked better with the lining sitting closer to the mesh fabric. So that's why they're sewn together. But in a garment where they aren't meant to be together, you'll probably want to attach the lining and the outer fabric separately. Now, what would a flapper dress be without the quintessential fringe? For the bottom of the dress, I'll be using 6-inch long navy chainette fringe arranged in a scalloped pattern. For the pattern, I'm marking the highest and lowest points of the scallop shape, making sure that the lowest points are exactly in the middle. Following the dots, I'm pinning the fringe into the scallop shape. I want to make sure that the scallops are several inches wide so that the shape is clearly defined. When they're too close together, you can't actually see the shape very well. I'll be doing this for 2 layers so that the bottom looks really full. For the most part, sewing the fringe was a breeze, but I did run into areas where it slipped and I had to adjust it. I also decided to use my fabric scraps to make a matching headpiece. Using remnants from the sequin fabric, I cut out 3 of the teardrop shapes and sewed them together. I attached some excess fringe, then sewed this applique to a headband I made from the lining fabric. To make it fit snugly, I sewed elastic to the inside using a simple zigzag stitch. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing so that this channel might eventually achieve partner status.